So, before we start the next meeting, let me just executive session. And,
6:35 came out of executive session, motion by Diane Benchowski, seconded by Brian Kolarski, and we adjourned to the work session meeting at the same time. So now we'll go to our regular meeting for our regular meeting. Tonight we do have a special presentation on we have Mr.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the last. Sing it with me. Gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I appreciate that. Did you turn this off? Thank you, George. What a beautiful, beautiful rendition. I appreciate that. We will now have a moment of silence for our veterans. Please bow our heads. And for our invocation tonight, we will have Reverend Rick Masano.
Father, as we stand before you this new year, with our town board, our police officers, those, Father, in our town who keep us safe, keep our streets clean, pick up our garbage and everything else, that, Father, they care about our residents. We ask, Father God, your presence here. We thank you the people are being honored today because they're part of this fine town of Cheektowaga, Lord. And we think of our new police officers who are going to be inducted today. We ask, Father, your blessing upon them and their families. Lord, we have a lot to be thankful for in this country, the freedoms we have, and they were bought with a price, the price of blood, the price of lives. And Lord, let's never forget that. We ask, Father God, your presence here, your presence in this coming year, that, Father God, that you will bless America and protect us. We ask it in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Rick. Madam Clerk, at this point, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Christine Adamsack. Councilmember Linda Hammer. Councilmember Michael Jazinski. Councilmember Gerald Kaminsky. Councilmember Brian Nowak. Councilmember Brian Pilarski. Supervisor Diane Benchkowski.
Here, 7 present. At this point, I'd like to introduce John and Margot Katsamatidis. Could you come and join me up here, please? Turn around, because we're actually on camera tonight. We're live streaming the meeting. I would like to introduce John and Margot Katsamatidis. If you weren't aware, John and Margot were the presenting sponsors for our 2022 Polish American Arts Festival, who gave an extremely generous donation of $10,000. John Katsamatidis is an American businessman, president, chairman, and CEO of Gristedes Foods, Quickfill Red Apple Group, and is the chairman and CEO of United Refining Company. His wife, Margot, is of Polish-Russian descent and founded MCV Advertising Associates in 1984. Although their schedules are extremely busy, they both are philanthropic and are firm believers in giving back to the community, donating their time and resources by serving on various boards and holding multiple volunteer positions. The town of Cheektowaga is fortunate to have built a strong relationship with the Polish American Congress. We have Jim Lewicki here tonight, who introduced the Katsamatidis to our annual Polish American Arts Festival in July. Our town has suffered greatly since the COVID pandemic when it comes to resources for community events. So without your support, the 2022 Polish American Arts Festival would not have been possible. Today, it is truly an honor to recognize John and Margot Katsamatidis. The town board and I would so graciously like to present you with this beautiful plaque as a thank you memento for your support. We had this specially made for you, Mr. Katsamatidis, in recognition of being a presenting sponsor of a Polish American Arts Festival. I can't thank you enough. You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, and we were proud to, when Brian Rust called us and says, you need a sponsor. I didn't argue with him, I did it. And I promise to be a sponsor every year from now on. Thank you. And my wife, we say Polish, Russian, but the maps changed so much those days. They were in a city. One year they were in Poland, 1 year they were in Russia, depending on who makes the map. And the story on Margot was that they were her grandparents and grandparents, her mother and grandparents were prisoners in a Nazi camp, and her father was a American intelligence officer from Hazard, Kentucky, and rescued her mother and her grandparents, married her mom, and well, here we are. Here we are. Margot and me have been together 50 years, and I met her when she was 2. And now, by some strange, I'm mostly Greek, and by some strange coincidence, my daughter is almost engaged. Not engaged yet, almost engaged. She's going out with the guy for a year and a half, so I don't know what she's waiting for. And he's ready for this one. He's half Polish and half Greek. So it makes the mother happy, it makes the father happy. And we're so happy to be here. And Mr. Lewicki, thank you for helping this happen, along with Brian Rust. And whatever we can do to help. United Refining, we own United Refining. I bought the company 40 years ago in bankruptcy and made it a successful company again. And we own the Quick Fill, the Red Apple gas stations. Whatever we can do for the community, please always call on us. And Margot, would you say a few words?
Thank you very much. Thank all of you very much. And it's been a real pleasure and honor to be in Buffalo all day today. I got to meet so many people, and it kind of reminds me of being from the Midwest, which I am, and just down home, honest, hardworking people who love their families, and families, it's everything to us. So what my husband said is true. If you ever need anything, want anything, please go through Brian to get to him. Okay? Thank you.
And another one of your, I know Rita Cosby has come here a long time, and Rita and me work together. We own WABC Radio in New York, and Rita Cosby is on every night from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, 5 days a week.
You all are welcome to come to the Polish Festival this year.
And this year, we might make it.
We would love for Martha
We'd
to
have to
speak
come.
about her experience with her family too.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you all. God bless. God bless. Hey, we all say God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you just wait 1 second?
All right, we're going to do God Bless America. How's that? All right, let's do it, brother. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her
Through the night with the light from above.
from the mountains to the prairies to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless
America, my home, sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to play video that the police department actually put together of the blizzard recent. We thought it would be fitting to show it today, to show how courageous our members of our police force really are and what they had to go through during the blizzard. Not just them, but all of our members of the town of Cheektowaga. We just thought it would be fitting, so we're going to play it for you.
Thank you to our police officers during that horrific blizzard, and Chief for putting this wonderful film together. It's very touching. Okay, Madam Clerk, do you want to start with the first resolution?
We have Resolution 2023-1. It is sponsored by Supervisor Benchkowski, seconded by Councilmember Jazinski. We have 6 vacancies that exist as a position of police officer in the Town of Cheektowaga Police Department. The following individuals will hereby be appointed to the position of police officer at a salary in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement between the Town of Cheektowaga and the Town of Cheektowaga Police Club. We have Samuel DeVita, Philip Newton, Brittany Brickman, Jordan Mandel, James Emfield, Michael Cruz. Said appointments shall become effective January 11th, 2023, and are subject to verification of compliance with the residency law of the Town of Cheektowaga.
On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Chief, you have the floor. Make sure the microphone is on.
Thank you. Just real quick to start, thank you for the support over the years. As you can see, it's critical that we maintain our manpower levels. And we know that every day, and especially during the tough days that preceded and followed Christmas this year. There are many, many people to thank after the storm, but everything was a group effort. Overnight crews of our highway department and high lifts, followed by police officers, rescuing people from cars and dropping them at volunteer fire stations, helping the firemen who were out there as well. And then, you know, the Merry Christmas Jay story and the civilians who stepped up. Just an amazing show of a community coming together to take care of each other. But today is a happy day because we get to invite 6 new members to our Cheektowaga Police Department family. You guys can sit down except for Sam. We'll start with Samuel DeVita. Samuel has a bachelor's degree in social sciences from the University of Buffalo. He served as a military police officer in the U.S. National Guard. He is currently employed as a peace officer with Erie Community College, which means that he's already completed the police academy and will go directly into our field training program, so we should get to have him as manpower rather quickly. Sam DeVita. Next is Philip Newton. Philip went to Hilbert College, where he's earned his bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He's currently working as an armed security officer for Loomis Security Company, and will be starting our police academy on Monday. Philip Newton. Brittany Brickman. Brittany also has a bachelor's degree, this from St. Bonaventure University in sociology. She works as a direct support professional for Aspire of Western New York, and will be starting her police academy on Monday. Jordan Mandel. Jordan has an associate's degree from Erie Community College and is studying public health at the University of Buffalo. He attended high school in Arizona, where his father was working as a Border Patrol agent. He's currently a service coordinator for Great Lakes Building System, and will be starting the police academy on Monday. James Emfield. James has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from the Buffalo State University, completed the New York State Department of Corrections Academy, and is currently employed as a mechanic at Calspan. You had to be here earlier for that part, sorry. We will be starting the academy on Monday. I promise he doesn't take care of the berm, okay? And Michael Cruz. Michael has an associate's degree from Villa Maria College and physical therapy assistant. He currently is studying accounting at Niagara University, works as a laborer with a local moving company, and will be starting the police academy on Monday. Michael. As always, thank you for accommodating us early on in the meeting. We're going to sneak out of here and do a little ceremony and a program for the families at our station. But again, thank you all.
You're welcome, Chief. We'll give you a couple minutes if you want to. Yes, go ahead. Let's sneak out, and I have to get the. papers anyway. Okay, we'll start with our first public comment period. This is an opportunity for residents to comment on items appearing on the agenda of the town board meeting tonight. The public comment period should last 15 minutes maximum. Each speaker may speak only once, and each speaker shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes speaking time. This first speaker is Vicky Leader.
I know it's a comment session, but I just want you to think about the questions I ask. Assessments. What is the cost of each assessment to the town? What is the effect of the pause? A lawsuit has already been announced on social media. Will a pause result in a greater increase in the taxes the following year? Will the town decrease its budget and lower the tax levy? And why wasn't this done when we were back to back, when a lot of us suffered to stay in our house? It almost sounds like it's an election year. That's how I see it. I think it could be a good idea, but why wasn't it done last year? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Kathleen Kruger? Make sure you speak into the microphone.
Good evening. Kathleen Kugler of Council from McCabe, Weisberg, and Conway. I'm just here regarding the property at 34 Virginia. I just wanted to provide an update for the council. It's my understanding that bids were requested and they're waiting on receipt of those bids. So they just asked if there was a possibility to respectfully request some additional time so those bids can be received and then they can make a decision on a plan moving forward regarding their property.
What kind of bids?
It's my understanding that they just put out, they requested bids based on a recent inspection that was done on December 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Oh,
some-
so we are, you're saying, now, or you're,
I'm sorry, they put, the bids regarding the
right.
to remedy the situation, yes.
Okay. Anything else?
No, it was just pretty quick.
Okay, thank you. Gary Borak?
Uplifting and enjoyable. I feel like the ref who threw that first flag against the Bills on Sunday. If I could just.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I want to urge you not to, at this time, pass the resolution. The reason for that is, I don't think you know, if you know in the middle of the county, how our assessor is going to go about determining full market value for the share. As you know, in the sheet, section 305 requires, by law, that the assessor make that determination every year. And then the assessor has to apply the assessment ratio. 100%, 50, or 20, whatever you choose. But you gotta make the full market value determination first. In fact, you can even go to the assessor's website, and that's quoted to the website. How property is assessed. The first step, when you got proof for it, the first step in assessing is to determine a property's market value. That has to be done first. Then you apply a ratio to determine the assessment. If you don't do that, you don't find out from how you're going to do that. What has happened in the past is the assessor has taken the existing assessments, divided them by the state determined equalization rate, and magically in the guard proposal, there are two plans. Plan A would be what we would do if we continue 100% staff. Plan B is what we will do without the 100% staff. And as I read that plan, there will be no determination of fair market value. We'll simply take assessed values that exist, we'll divide it by the equalization ratio, and have this false determination of full market value. The third page shows you houses that were sold in cheap July at or near the taxable valuation of July 1, 2022. There is no question, again, Mr. Law, don't believe me, that that is going to be the full market value of those homes in this place. There's no issue, that's it. The affidavits are on record by the purchasers that they were arm's length. The Office of Real Property Tax Service has determined they're at arm's length. Our own assessor has determined they're at arm's length. And you can see that if we use the existing assessed value, the ratio of assessment for those homes will range from 57% to 134%. Anybody think that's fair? Anybody think that's a fair way to go about distributing our tax burden? Those people in 134 are really going to be paying overpayment. May I have this?
Yes, I'll make a motion to give Gary another minute. Okay, go ahead.
So they're going to be significantly overpaying because of relations that people are paying this assessment. And that's going to happen for everyone because it is wide disparity. If we don't first determine full market value, you know, apply whatever ratio you want. 150 doesn't make any difference. Just try to determine the full market value. Without that, we end up in this. And I think that's unfair. And I think until you have an answer from the assessors to how she's going to determine full market value, you should table that 100% resolution until you have an answer from how she's going to do it. I don't know, maybe you got the answer, you just have it, nobody wants to tell me. But I'm reading that contract, it looks like she's just going to take that resolution.
You're welcome. Thanks, Gary. I just have to cancel that one out. The next speaker is Nancy Drummer. Can you just get that microphone closer, bend it down?
Basically, us as neighbors, we were not notified for this building, the old building, and the new building that was built in 22. On Monday, they let semi through their gate. Now, they are not supposed to be using that gate. It's been 4 years we've been dealing with neighbors, dealing with tail stand and noise at night, inside and outside of the house. Semi running for hours.
Thank you. Well, thanks. It was, yeah, police officers were all here. They worked very hard. Okay, I will close that part of our comment period and move on to our public hearings. Madam Clerk?
We had a call for public hearing that was made at the December 27th Town Board meeting. It was Resolution 2022-711 to consider the town entering into a said pilot and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same and for such other action on the part of the Town Board with relation to the signing of a pilot, and it would be a pilot in lieu of taxes agreement on behalf of the town of the Cheektowaga with Magnolia Housing Development Fund Corporation and Magnolia Housing. My office received no comments on that.
We do have Jimmy DeMarco here tonight. Did you?
Put my name on the list just in case there was any questions that anybody had of your co-counsel in regard to that issue.
Okay, we don't have anybody signed up, and you don't have anyone that wrote in, so I'm going to open it up if you still want to speak on behalf of that project or the pilot agreement. Okay, then we... Yes, Dave, come to the microphone, then.
Just real quick, I thought I was told that the town doesn't do pilots. The county does, or the state, but the town has not done ever done pilots, is that true?
No, we have several pilots that we've done.
I thought they said the town don't know what the county does.
They might do their own. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll call this public hearing. Well, this is about the pilot. Did you want to speak? Okay. All right. Okay. We'll call this public hearing to a close. And next one, Madam Clerk.
A call for public hearing was made at the December 27th Town Board meeting, Resolution 2022-712, for the purpose of considering the adoption of a local law intro number 2022-5 of the year 2022. It's entitled "A Local Law to Amend the Code of Ethics." A copy of the entire text of the local law intro 2022-5 was on file at Town Clerk's office and was available during regular business hours for viewing. I received no comments on this as well.
We have nobody signed up to speak. Would anybody like to speak about the amendment of our local law, our Code of Ethics law? Okay, then I will call that public hearing to a close. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. Stuff here. Tonight, we have a consent agenda as part of our meeting. If any council member wishes to remove an item for discussion, please tell me now, and I will remove the item from the consent agenda, and it will be added as a separate resolution item.
Supervisor, I'd like to pull 2023-17.
2023-17. Madam Clerk, do you have that? Twenty 22-673 from Councilmember Adamczak. Is that the tabled item? Yeah, so we'll just vote on that separately, or you can table it again, whatever. Anybody else?
29 through 32.
29 through 2023, 29, 30, 31, and 32. Yes. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't pull 2023-4 regarding the adoption of the full value assessments. Yes. No, yep, right, that was for me, okay. Yes, okay, so, I need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented now. Councilmember Pilarski, seconded by Councilmember Adamzak, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Madam Clerk?
I'll second it.
Can we get a roll call vote?
No.
Councilmember Hammer? Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Noak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski? Messed that up. Sorry
Yes.
about that.
I'm not Mark, remember?
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Supervisor Benchkowski?
No.
We have 5 yeas to take it off. The motion is on the table. We have Resolution 2022-673. It is sponsored by Councilmember Noak, seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. It is site plan approval for 4455 Genesee Street, based upon the proposed site plan reviewing, including all sequential recommending decisions by the town reviewing bodies. The town board finds the proposed site plan to be in accordance with local law and all other applicable bodies of regulation. The town board of Cheektowaga, New York, that approval of the proposed site plan attached to this resolution under SBL number 9204 1-2.3, address 4455 Genesee, is hereby granted.
Can I please pull my name off as a mover?
Do we have a second on this?
Councilmember Kaminsky said he would be the second.
Councilmember Jerry Kaminsky. Let's do a roll call vote.
Yes, roll call, please.
Yep. Councilmember Adamzak?
No.
Councilmember Hammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Noak? Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Supervisor Benchkowski?
No.
The motion is carried. We have Resolution 2022-727 on the table. Does anyone want to make a motion, put that on the table?
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Brian Pilarski, is there a second? Councilmember Noah, all in favor?
Could I have a roll call vote? No.
Councilmember Adamzak?
No.
Councilmember Hammer?
Just take it out, we're voting to take it off the table.
Voting to take it off the table.
Oh, I'm sorry, take it off. I'm having a real good night here. Can I say yes?
Yes. Yes. Councilmember Adamzak is a yes. Councilmember Hammer is a yes. Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Noah?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
And Supervisor Benchkowski?
Yes.
Resolution 2022-727 is sponsored by Councilmember Noak, seconded by Councilmember Kaminsky. Be it resolved, the position of senior court clerk being and hereby is created in the Justice Court, effective immediately. Do a roll call vote. Councilmember Adamzak?
Well, could I just, I want an on the question.
Sure.
Okay. So, anybody on the question, comments or anything? Actually, I do have a few comments about this resolution. I think at this point, we shouldn't be creating the senior court clerk. I had worked out something with the judges that we should be training somebody that's already in the courts to line them up for this position, and they would get the out-of-job class pay while they're being trained. So I don't see a need for us to create a new position, which was not budgeted for this year. Anybody else have any?
Yeah, on the question, the Judge Stevens came before the board several times talking about the need for training, issues with retirements. He and I had spoke, and I think the out-of-class pay approach is commendable, and it's doing some good, but the knowledge that the court clerks have and the needs we have over there, that having somebody filling this position, they can shadow more often, they can absorb more training in a shorter period of time. In the retirements, we don't know once we get past March at what point in 2023 those are going to come. So we have a very limited amount of time. So in my view, this is something we have to do to make sure we can transfer as much knowledge and history and information from the current senior court clerks to the folks that are going to take over.
Anybody else?
Same with a couple part-time positions that aren't filled yet. The funding could be there if you just use that and tap into that, in addition to tapping someone to do additional duties. Sure, there's out-of-class pay, but are they getting their original duties done in addition to trying to absorb this new position? I don't think it's possible, so I think this position's needed.
Anybody else? I just think that we might be setting a standard. First of all, once it's in there, it's harder to get it out. We didn't budget for it. Every department in this town is in the same predicament. Somebody retires, and they have to train a new person when that person retires. For instance, my office. We've been down one person for the last, say, 2 months, or maybe 6 weeks, I'd say. I've been down one, and we just had to manage somehow to do that. I can think of several other areas in this town. Rick Colburn's department, for instance, he's short on assistant code enforcement officers. It takes almost a year to train them before they can even go out there and start citing properties. So my argument is it's happening in every department. We have to figure out a better way than just to start throwing the money out the window and creating another position instead of using our resources in order to, which I thought was a creative way that I had told them to do that, and a lot of the other departments do, is try to start training now before you have a retirement. But that's my argument. And the other fact is there's other positions we really need in this town, which I've been saying, which is we need a controller to manage our expenses and watch what we're paying out, a purchasing department, and I'm doing without those for the last 7 years. So those are my arguments. Anybody else?
Yes, I think the biggest difference in the court, I would not want to be arrested. I would not want to be in that courtroom when they're short of help and there's inexperienced people that may either reflect on or possibly affect the outcome of my court case. You can't have inexperienced people in the courtroom, not by any standards. And the sad part about it, you just can't pull somebody off the street, put them into a job. You're setting them up for failure. And that's the biggest thing. We generally have no transition. We know one is going to retire. The other one could retire the day after, and there's no control we have over it. And then who do you just throw into a clerk's position that's going to help the judges out? It needs to be done.
We also have the automotive mechanics. We're now down 3 in the central garage, and I don't know what we're going to do about that. And we need the police cars up and running. So it's, like I said, it's happening in every department.
Definitely don't disagree with you that it's happening town-wide in every department. There's shortage in them all. But at some point, we have to stop asking our departments to do more with less, because in reality, you get less, you do less. I mean, it's just, we're hitting a breaking point at some point, and then when you got retirees leaving and there's no crossover training, you're losing all that knowledge and that experience to pass that on. There's no torch passing there. So I think this is definitely a need and not a want. And trust me, some of the requests that come to us, I look at and I'm like, all right, that's just crazy. But in this case, in this scenario, and like others that you've pointed out, there are some more needs that we need to address and figure out how to do it.
Police also, we're short them too. And dispatchers, I can keep going on and on, but anyway. Could we have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Adamzak? Councilmember Hammer? Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Nowak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Supervisor Benchkowski?
No.
The motion is carried. I have a motion by Supervisor Benchkowski, second by Councilmember Kaminsky, to approve all items on the consent agenda, including the meeting minutes of December 27th, 2022, and resolution items 2023-2 through 2023-36. We have a correction to item 17. There were 2 pay changes on there. We have a correction to item 18, which is a change to the meeting date for December 26th, that there will be no work session, and the town board meeting will start at 5 o'clock. And we also have resolutions that were pulled. We have resolution 2023-17, resolution 2029, 30, 31, 32, and resolution 4.
Correct.
I need a roll call vote to approve the consent agenda items. Councilmember Adamzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Nowak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Supervisor Benchkowski?
Yes.
All items on the consent agenda have passed. I need a motion to waive the rules to include resolution.
What about the ones that we pulled off the consent agenda first?
Resolution 2023-4. We have sponsored by Councilmember Nowak, Hammer, Pilarski, Benchkowski, Kaminsky, Jazinski, and Adamzak. Whereas on January 21st, 2014, by way of the Town Board Resolution Number 2014-50, adoption of full value for tax assessments, and in accordance with RPTL Section 3053, Town of Cheektowaga adopted full market value of all properties, and this Town Board desires to pause in full the action set forth in Resolution Number 2014-50 for 1 year for the date of the adoption of this resolution, and resume the assessed values for the residential and commercial properties in the town at 100% of equalized full market value of all such properties therein. The town assessor and town board mutually agree to pause the action of Resolution 2014-50 for 1 year from the date of the adoption of this resolution, and resuming for the 2024 tax assessment.
On the question, I actually pulled this because I did have a comment or a question on this. The two chairs for the assessors, have you talked to her? Do you know how she's determining the assessed value, like Gary Borick had mentioned, for this year?
I have not gotten a plan on exactly how she's going to proceed with it, and I'm hoping that she presents next board meeting, if we can have her in at the work session to come up with that exact plan,
Yeah.
to present it.
I know.
I'm sure she's got it, but just to present it.
And for me, I don't believe I'm a chair of the assessments committee, but, I mean, in terms of how they're going to determine full market values, I would defer to the assessor to answer that.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we need to. That's why I think then at this point, I would like to table it till the next meeting and then bring it back and vote on it then. I'm not against this resolution. I just think we should make an informed decision. So I'm going to ask for a table. Do I have a second to table it?
I'll second the table, just so
Okay.
we can bring her in and have her present.
Or I'm going to put her on the work session then, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that resolution is tabled. We'll talk to Jill to come in and just explain everything.
We have Resolution 2023-17. It's sponsored by Supervisor Benchkowski, seconded by Councilmember Jazinski, following individuals in their part-time positions were discussed in the 23 budget deliberations. New York State minimum wages moving from $13.20 to $14.20 as of December 31st, 2022. The current market has proven highly competitive for part-time and seasonal workers, and the following hourly wages for these individuals were included in the 23 budget. There is a full list of part-time workers associated with that.
On the question?
On the question, I would just like to call for a roll call vote. I have no other comments.
Okay. Could we have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Adamzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Nowak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
Yes.
Supervisor Benchkowski?
Yes.
The motion is carried. Resolution 2023-29, sponsored by Councilmember Pilarski, seconded by Councilmember Kaminsky. Whereas in order to keep the town board informed as to the needs of veterans in the town of Cheektowaga, the town board created the Veterans Affairs Committee and appointed members thereto. Members of the Veterans Affairs Committee serve for a one-year term, and their current term expired on December 31st, 2022. The town board wishes to reappoint the following members.
On the question? Did you have anything, any comment, Councilmember Jazinski, because you pulled this first?
Well, I can't make a decision on people getting reappointed that I never spoke two words to.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't think so. Don't take this in a bad way. We've been here a year and you don't know any of these people?
Well, I tend to talk to people more in my committee. I mean, have you met everybody in this town?
Pretty close, I would say.
You've
But
lived here
I've been
since,
here 11
you know,
years.
the bills were formed.
No,
but-
understandable.
Anybody else on the question? Well, I was just going to ask all in favor. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next one, 29.
Resolution 2023-30 is
Yes, I'm
sponsored by
sorry.
Councilmember Nowak, seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. The term of Kaylee Ruste as member of the Planning Board expired as of December 31st, 2022. Kaylee Ruste has expressed an interest in continuing to serve as a member of the Planning Board. Kaylee Ruste has satisfactorily served on the Planning Board and merits reappointment. Kaylee Ruste being hereby is appointed to the position of member of the Planning Board effective January 1st, 2023, and terminating on December 31st, 2027.
On the question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-31 is sponsored by Councilmember Nowak, seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. Whereas the term of Jane Warchuk as member of the Zoning Board of Appeals expires on December 31st, 2022. Jane Warchuk has expressed an interest in being reappointed to this position. Jane Warchuk has satisfactorily served as a member of the board, as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and merits reappointment to such position. Jane Warchuk of Cheektowaga, New York, being and hereby is reappointed to the position of member of the Zoning Board of Appeals effective January 1st, 2023, and terminating on December 31st, 2027.
On the question? Yes. Okay, then let's do a roll call vote so that,
Councilmember Adamzak?
Yes.
Councilmember Hammer?
No, or abstain.
Councilmember Kaminsky? Councilmember Nowak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pilarski?
Yes.
Councilmember Jazinski?
No.
And Supervisor Benchkowski.
no.
The motion is carried.
Okay.
Resolution 2023-32, sponsored by Councilmember Adamzak, seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. Be it resolved that the following individuals being hereby are reappointed as bingo inspectors effective January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. Dennis Smith of Cheektowaga, and Bill Schmid of Cheektowaga. The following individuals will be appointed as bingo inspectors.
On the question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 20, sorry.
Waiver items next?
32, hold on, we pulled a bunch. 3, 17, we did 29, 30, 31, and 32. We are on to our suspension of rules. I need a motion and a second to waive the rules to include the following resolution items. Resolution 2023-37 and 38. That's all right. Councilmember Noah and Councilmember Hammer? Resolution 2023-37 is sponsored by Councilmember Noack and seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. Niagara Frontier Building Officials 2023 Education Conference is being held January 23rd through January 25th in Buffalo, New York. These expenses have been budgeted by the department. Plumbing Inspector Greg Magnajewski, Code Enforcement Officer Donald Wartinger, Assistant Code Enforcement Officer Robert Commissaro, Christopher Kajewski, and Steve Olzak, being and hereby are authorized to attend the National Frontier Building Officials 2023 Education Conference being held January 23rd through January 25th, 23 in Buffalo, New York.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-38 is sponsored by Councilmember Noack, seconded by Supervisor Benchkowski. Niagara Frontier Building Officials Education Conference is being held January 23rd through January 25th, 2023 in Buffalo, New York. These expenses have been budgeted by the department. Assistant Code Enforcement Officer Mark Rodecki and Peter Maurer being and hereby are authorized to attend the Niagara Frontier Building Officials Education Conference being held January 23rd through January 25th, 23 in Buffalo, New York.
On the question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
It's the end of our resolution items. My office did receive departmental communications from the Traffic Safety Commission of December 20th, and we received 7 notices of claim.
Okay, comments? I have no further comments except Mr. Katsamatidis has agreed to give the town for the Polish Festival Committee anyway, an additional $5,000 and up it to $15,000 for next year for our Polish Festival. So I walked him out the door. Any council member comments? Councilmember Jazinski?
Yeah, so I found out that we have an extensive amount of training offered through our insurance. And just really, I question why aren't we utilizing a lot of this training? There's a lot of safety training in here that I think it'll be a good thing for our crew on the roads. And I'd be more than happy to share everything with you guys.
Yes, please do.
But I think that, we're paying for a premium and we're not getting the bang for our buck. So there's a lot of training programs that our departments could definitely help, letting our guys go home safe and just, being conscious of being safe. And I was working with Mr. Brian Horsman to launch our OSHA 10 training for our sewer department. So it's very exciting. There's some other things that I'd like to work with him on to, continue this process because, at the end of the day, I think everybody deserves to go home safe regardless of the situation. So I think this will definitely help. One other thing I'd like to talk about, I got a letter from a lady. Her name was Eva, and she was a widow. And she called me, and, it was very heartfelt, and stuff. She can't clean up the apron of her driveway. I understand. I share the same trouble. So I don't know. I just would be open to some ideas on how we can better serve our seniors because, I'm open for suggestions. Do we put together some type of volunteer things, kind of like things they do in the city of Buffalo to help out seniors? I'd be on board with that. But we need to do something. We need to take action on it. We can't just need to talk about it. We actually literally need to take action because that's one of the biggest things that I promote is helping our seniors. So
Well, I think that's a good one. Maybe we can talk to Youth and Recreation and see if we can do something along the line of, like the conservation workers. Clean the trails in the parks, everything. Might get some kids, yeah, Boy Scouts, whatever. There's a lot of organizations around that we could probably recruit for that.
There were
Boys and
younger-
Girls Club, I would assume, too.
Councilmember Noack?
I said there's a lot of groups
Or-
that need, you know, like.
Well,
Boy
can you use
Scouts-
your microphone, Linda?
Like Boy Scouts or seniors in high school, they need to do so many hours of community service. So I mean, maybe we could have some kind of program where we have them sign up through the town to do, you know, things like that to help seniors.
Councilmember Noack?
Yeah, Doyle Fire had some folks going out doing some shoveling for people that were really in need. And I mean, there's some stuff that's already there. You look at the existing models, we can always build on that. I think there's a model in Amherst that they do something that's a little bit different. I'm definitely open to talking about it. There's not gonna be a perfect fix, but we could definitely improve on what we're doing there. And, you know, on that vein, you know, we talk a lot about thanking first responders, which we absolutely should, and thanking police and fire and, you know, the nurses in hospitals and the folks that were in restaurants or retail stores or gas stations that were there for 72 hours helping and taking care of people. But there were a lot of folks in the audience just like you, just helping out your neighbors during the storm, shoveling out, making sure that their furnaces were still working, making sure they had something to eat, making sure the electric was still on. There's so many people that are nameless and faceless that did a lot of good for their neighbors. So I know there was some anxiety, stress, fear, anger dealing with this storm, but it's just something to reflect on this week of all the people in this town that helped the folks next door, that helped the folks on their block dig out, sharing snow blowers, all that stuff. And I think we saw the best in the folks in our town during that, so thank you all.
We're not the city of good neighbors for no reason, guys, so help your neighbor.
Yes, totally agree. Anybody else?
On that as well, I mean, we saw the video of the police body cam footage, but, you know, this wasn't a normal storm. It went from, you know, snow plowing in the morning to pulling everybody off to putting them back on search and rescue at this point. Then it's digging out, which was another couple of days, and then get snow removal. So like Councilmember Nowak, he said people were getting anxious and all that, and I understand that, you know, Hammock Street wasn't plowed or whatnot, but there was a plan to it. I'm looking forward to the after-action review because there is room for some improvements, and we all know that nothing's perfect, but overall, I think it was well handled from the town, from all of our departments coming together, and the residents. I mean, tip my hat. I mean, from people breaking into the school but not looting it or doing anything and helping others, saving lives is really what it was. Senior Center opening up as a warming site. It was all hands on deck from everybody, you know, 360 in this town, and they all came together, so tip my hat to you guys. Thank you.
Well, you know, just to add to Brian, not to, well, it's like I said, I'm sure most of the people know what I do. I'm also in the snowplow business. For the 30 years I have been in the snowplow business, I have never seen so much absolutely destroyed equipment. Not only the equipment, the vehicles that it was mounted on. I've seen trucks from the city of Buffalo that were absolutely destroyed. And I think the point I wanted to make is so many people had complained about why isn't my street plowed? Why isn't my street plowed? Number one, the visibility in a lot of places was zero. It got to the point, a day and a half into that storm, it was no longer movable with snow plows. The only way you're going to move that snow is with a bucket loader. I think anybody knows anything about construction or plowing will attest to it. Rick Rusnak sitting back there, he'll probably tell you the same thing. It's like I said, even the big snow plows, in a lot of cases, got destroyed in the city of Buffalo. I don't know how we made out, but I think we do have to review some of our equipment, maybe to fight a big storm like that better.
As we were talking about the seniors, I'm going to form a Helping Seniors Committee. Would any of the council members, we need 3, or the maximum could be 3, so we have Councilmember Pilarski, Jazinski, and Adamczak. We'll officially form that committee, and maybe you could meet with Carrie and the Youth and Rec and whoever else you want to do, or meet amongst yourselves and report back to us some ideas. I think this is a great idea because I've been concerned, and I know Carrie has too, because she deals directly with those seniors. So We have Councilmember Pilarski, Jazinski, and Adam Zak, who are going to be working on the Helping Seniors Committee, and you're going to report back to the board then. Okay, good. With that being said, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Could I have a second? Councilmember Jazinski? Yeah. Oh, sorry. You're right. This is an opportunity for residents to comment on matters involving Cheektowaga. The public comment period should last 15 minutes maximum. Each speaker may speak only once, and each speaker shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes speaking time. So at the end of the meeting, we still, okay, Vicki, did you want to speak again? Okay, so Linda, you have, yes, 3 minutes. Okay.
I came here tonight to talk about the snow removal from the storm,
Mhm.
okay? I'm not trying to be critical of anybody or any effort, but I want to ask this question, and I want to direct it right to you, Mr. Kaminsky. You made a comment that Buffalo, destroyed vehicles and all this stuff happened, and it was too difficult to get through, and we needed payloaders. Explain to me, and this is my question, how did Amherst clear their streets and able to hand over equipment to the city of Buffalo, and my street was not plowed in Cheektowaga?
Well, I think, and I don't know what was going on in Amherst, do not know what they did, but I will argue with anybody because I was out in that storm too, and it was probably the worst one I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Understood.
And-
Understood it was terrible. But I guess my question is, what was the plan? Did you have contractors also hired to bring on board? We all knew this storm was going to be horrendous. They'd been talking about it for weeks. So did the town of Cheektowaga employ contracting?
Yes, we
Did you
did.
have a plan
Yes,
in
we did.
place? Did you address the streets that were most effective first? Because I believe that is not the case. I'm in Cleve Hill, and we were told through the governor's office, at, his press conferences, that Pine Hill and Cleve Hill were the most affected areas in all of Cheektowaga. However, I know for a fact that South Cheektowaga, that was not really affected, was plowed on Monday. I didn't see anybody till Wednesday. I want an answer to some of this. I mean, to me, I'm a manager, and to me, if I'm managing a crew, and I have an area that's most affected, I send 80% of the equipment to that area and come back again and deal with the less affected areas behind it. Also want to know, is all your equipment working? Or did you have equipment out of service? And why?
Well, we're going to have the chief and some of the department heads, which the highway superintendent, he is in charge of that whole plan for the highways. I couldn't tell him what to do. He had a plan.
You can't tell him.
No, I cannot. He's not my employee.
Okay.
So he had a plan. We're meeting with all the department heads because there's just so much involved with the chief and setting up an EOC, Emergency Operations Center, things
Exactly.
like that. We did have all that in place. So we're going to come back. Hopefully, he'll be ready to come back at the next meeting, at our work session.
Mhm.
So that would start at 5 o'clock. I think he'll be ready by then,
Okay.
and we'll have a lot of these things.
I'd also like to know
report
if you
back.
plan to have two things.
Mhm.
Lessons learned session, we
Mhm.
call it a retrospective
That's
where
what
I
that
am.
is. Mhm.
And also, the city is hiring a private consulting firm to review their plan and the results of their plan. Are you
Mhm.
planning to do likewise, or piggybacking on to the city of Buffalo's effort?
We haven't talked about that yet. We haven't met.
I think just from a
So,
perspective
mhm.
of myself in private industry, that's a really good thing to do.
Mhm.
Because I'm too close to my team. I need people from the outside to come in and review what my team has done.
Yeah, I understand. Well, thank you. I appreciate
Well,
it.
can I add one thing? Part of your question about the storm was that the south end of town was done earlier.
Yes.
The visibility in the south end of town was much better. The demarcation line was
Okay.
basically Broadway. Visibility up there was virtually zero. And it came in
Gotcha.
a bit of a line through the city of Buffalo. So the option was, our foreman that was basically running the show at that point in time decided to move the guys to the south end of town,
Gotcha.
work north. And then the biggest thing, there were so many vehicles that had to be moved that hindered a lot of the work too.
Yeah, my plowing service had been trying to get to my house, and he called me a couple times and said you had a lot of cars on Harlem Road that needed to be removed.
It was horrendous.
And also up by me on Cleveland.
Gridlocked, totally.
Yeah,
You couldn't
and
get
that's
up
what he
there.
said. But then he said, I can get through, but you're not plowed. I can't do it because it's all ice. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's Wednesday. And I'm very sorry, but I really think Wednesday was a little late.
So to add to this a little bit, and I know it's a comment period, but I think it's very important to also understand that, which a lot of people don't know, our town plows were also plowing state and county roads. So they were doing Dick Road, Broadway, Union, all those.
Yeah, that's
So
not
that took away from our assets and our manpower, getting our side streets and all that. So those are the main roads, that are usually
Councilman,
maintained.
the county plows were doing the south third of the city of Buffalo at that time,
Correct.
right?
They moved the resources into the city, so that fell on our shoulders. And then it became a point to where we were trying to get bulldozers, or even down my street was it was a bulldozer, it wasn't even a payloader, just to clear a single lane, so emergency
Right.
vehicles at that
Right.
point.
A lot of it turned into search and rescue
Yeah.
too.
And-
See, this is all the stuff that a retrospective would bring up.
Absolutely, and that's where an after-action review is going to happen. What did we learn from it? What do we need? What
Exactly.
equipment and assets don't we have? And I could say truthfully, my street was the dead last one in the town to be plowed, and I'm okay with that. On Christian Drive. It's because that's when they got to us. After all the snow, hit, it was white out, you couldn't get
Yeah.
into our area. So then when they started and came down, I'm on Christian and Dick. I was the last street, and that's okay. Somebody had to be last, But like Jerry said, they had to bring the resources to the south. There's more visibility, start cleaning it while we're here, and then come back to the north and get that area.
And that's the other thing that I find very interesting. No place on the website did it indicate what was going on, where you were in your plowing efforts.
That's
and what
the highway superintendent.
And I called a couple times because I'm like, somebody please just answer the phone and tell me what's
We
going on.
didn't know. Yeah.
And I'm thinking that might be a good suggestion, that you put periodic web updates
They should.
on your website, so people like me aren't going, haven't you come yet? Why aren't you here? Well, you would have told me, I can't get there, Linda, because we can't see.
You're right, because that's what a lot of the calls were coming to my office, and we didn't know either. So I'm putting that in as an item to discuss too, about
But I think
periodic updates.
Yeah, I think you really should probably consider having a retrospective and allowing, I'll be quiet, allowing anybody who's interested as a resident to attend it.
Well, we'll do this at the work session.
Okay.
It's just, we have to have an interdepartmental meeting with every
Understood.
department head first. And then the chief said he would come to the work session, and then he'll present to us what his findings were, what his suggestions, and he's gonna listen to the board's suggestions and the residents. It's not gonna be done yet, but it's a
Right.
start.
No, I
So-
agree, but I think personally we should look to a way to provide better communication to the residents in these kind of issues and hopefully we'll never have another one.
Linda, I understand your concern, and the only way that I can put it, this was a major disaster that you
Exactly.
really couldn't plan for. And I'll tell you, I have to commend our workers, our police department.
Oh, yes.
Even some of the contractors that came out there. I mean, I do business with a lot of these contracting companies. The guy even asked me if I could run if I'd run his loader at night. I tell him, I was putting in enough hours during the day, you couldn't find anybody to run a lot of the equipment either.
Yeah.
And
that's
we
true,
were
too.
pretty damn lucky that, I'll tell you something, all the workers in our highway department showed up. And not to correct Diane, and the sad part about it, our highway superintendent lost his brother-in-law. He was away at a wake down south, I think, in the Carolinas.
Gotcha.
Thank God we had a foreman that took the bull by the horns and run it.
Yeah, thank God.
And he did a very, very good timeline of the whole storm, I think.
Okay.
And I think that's something we should bring to the next meeting.
So what I'm really hearing is communication. That's what I'm really hearing.
Yep.
It's all communication. And if there's some way to be able to communicate more effectively, I think everybody would go, yeah, you're right. You did a damn good job. And I'm not saying you didn't, please. I'm not taking it away from anybody.
I think, our highway department did an outstanding job, and they did the best they could do, and they were prepared with the private contractors. That was already discussed before the storm even
Yeah,
came.
the average overtime was 35 to 50 hours
Yes.
through that storm.
It's interesting, and I'll step aside, but it's interesting, my cousin works for National Grid, and he had been, and he's a supervisor or a manager. He was called in, he was working from 6 a.m. to 11 at night every day, and he called me on Friday and said, oh, by the way, I'm on Wayne Harris with her. Oh, I said, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden they dismissed stuff.
Mm.
And so he worked all those hours every single day, with, right through Christmas, because they had to get all that.
Well, some of our highway workers didn't even get home for Christmas. So they spend it here. I know our police department do. Yes, so they missed out on Christmas with their families. I know, a lot of us did too. So we're all stuck, we're all stranded. All right, Vicki, did you want to talk? Yeah.
All right, I'm here to bring the doom and gloom. Listening to the scanner, Christmas weekend, my brother was at Pine Hill for 3 days straight, away from his family. I listened to the fire, I listened to the police scanner, and I cried the entire weekend. These men and women left their families. That video is just a piece. If you heard their voices on the scanners, the desperation, the concern, chokes me up every time I think about it. Dead people, people that were having heart attacks, and the fire department couldn't get to them, so they're humping over these big 6-foot drifts. It's insane to even think you can comprehend it until you've heard it, you've had a family member in it. It's amazing. So thank you is not enough. And then I'm on social media, and I see board members throwing other board members under the bus. Again. It looks like a bully on a playground. You're supposed to work together. Politics aside, who cares if you're Democrat or Republican? It doesn't matter. Because those firefighters and those policemen, they did not ask, what party are you affiliated with, before they ran and rescued those people. There were people dead. There was a dead person in the beep beep tunnel by the airport. They were just stuffed in there. It was insane. Respect your positions and talk to each other. You're all adults. Everybody wants to do good at their job. Nobody needs a pat on the back, because as a group you succeed, or as a group you fail. That's all I have to say.
Vicki,
Thank you.
with, you mentioned your brother. He did a good job running command for Pine Hill, so he did a good job.
Eva Stamataros? Hi, Eva.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I please impose on you, show you some pictures?
All right, you're going to have to speak in the microphone, though, so just show, okay.
Just to show.
Mhm.
Pictures are worth 1,000 words, and then I'll follow with the words.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, you think DeMar Hamlin went through hell on the football field. My husband and I were in this, my now late husband of 34 years. We were on a bright sunny day going to a Medicare seminar to get something taken care of during that open enrollment season. DeMar Hamlin had help within 60 seconds. It took 8 minutes for LVAC to get to a neighboring town where this accident happened, this car crash happened. People say, how could you walk away from this? How can you be alive? 20 days at ECMC, and then 5 months at one of the old folks' homes where people go for knee replacements and hip replacements. Believe me, I've got more screws and pins and plates after 4 rounds of surgery. I could easily set off a metal detector at any airport. I've got more metal in me than probably your lawnmower at home. what this has to do with snow plowing is that common sense. We were going straight through a yellow light, and we were cut off by a guy driving a vehicle making a left-hand turn. Common sense did not kick in for this car crash to happen. And common sense, as it relates to the town of Cheektowaga, is seriously lacking in the highway department. How is it that Mark Wagner cannot show up here as an elected official, as all of you are elected officials? Why cannot he do the right thing and show up for the people that voted for him, who are paying his salary? How is he exempt? We need to amend the bylaws, amend the rules. I don't know what it is called, but I will gladly serve in any way possible, because my countless calls to Mark Wagner have gone unreturned, going back from November of 2021, going back to the Thanksgiving storm that we had, versus I knew he would be inundated with calls after the Christmas blizzard. Why is it this man does not have the professionalism in the private sector? If a waitress doesn't go to your table, would you like a refill? Can I get you anything else? In the private sector, you're out the door. Why is it that he is not responsible to return phone calls, which is done on a professional basis? We all say we are adults. May I continue?
Yeah, I'll just answer you real quick, all right? We're under highway law. He's under highway law. He's an elected official. So he's not our employee. He's not my employee. He's not the town board's employee. He's elected by you. You're his boss. So you're going to have to deal with, if you don't like something that I do or Councilmember Adams Act, we work for you. And the same thing with the highway superintendent. So I'm just going to let you know why we cannot mandate him to come to a board meeting or answer.
I am permitted to approach you to speak
Yes.
with you, but what is it that I can do to Mark Wagner
Well,
as far as
he has a
unreturned
great
phone calls?
staff.
No
Have
one
you
has
gone?
returned phone calls. No
May-
one, absolutely no one in that office.
Have you maybe gone over there? They have an office there. They're open 7 to 2 every Monday through Friday. And I know there were people there throughout the storm, so you might want to go over to the office in person at the highway department. Do you know where that is?
I know where the highway
Okay.
is, the one on Union Road.
Yeah, so there's an office in the front. So you just walk where it says office, walk in there, and right to the left is his office staff.
Because the common sense is seriously lacking, because on my dead-end street, picture the letter A with a round on it, with a round versus a point at the top. Common sense is seriously lacking among the drivers of these vehicles. And it comes from the top on down, people. Either he's not training them the right way, or these people don't give a hoot.
Well, don't forget, that's why Councilmember Jazinski is mentioning about the training. He's on top of that part of it. We do need our employees. We have a lot of young people coming in, and they're not trained, so.
To this day, a 5-year-old could stand by the snow that was left by my house in front at curbside. You couldn't see a 5-year-old. That's how much. There's a friends and family plan that we don't know about, because there's another highway person who is an employee around the corner from me, 2 doors down, and his father is across the street from me on Zeller. And for some reason, their snow gets cleared away, but not so that it impedes their, how can I say, it makes life easier for them to get rid of their snow. It's weird the way these snowplow drivers work with each other as far as take care of my family. There is a friends and family plan, I'm sorry to say, after what I've witnessed, because I still have a mound of snow that has obviously not melted, but it's the only one on Zeller. It's weird. It's ironic. It just that imbalance, if you will, that exists. Why can't the drivers come around the other way? And Mr. Wagner has been nowhere to be found to answer these questions.
Well, I don't mind having a talk with him, so, you know, I'll, and I'm sure
I
other.
requested for him to come, my voice knows, I'll make an appointment, he'll make an appointment, nothing. He won't meet me halfway. He won't come to me, and
Well,
he
like
didn't
he's-
say, I'll make an appointment with you, lady.
We can't do anything you know, he's not our employee, so that's the problem.
How do we amend the bylaws so that he is
You
mandated?
can't, it's election. It's just the way the highway law works. He's elected, so we can't change highway law either. It would be through the state legislature.
So we have to work through Tim Kennedy, essentially, and Monica Wallace.
Yeah. No, like you're our boss.
That means we're his boss too.
Absolutely, yes.
That's what.
So I can fire my employees.
Yeah, we're going to have to move on tonight, Eva. I know what you're saying, though. I understand, but we're working within our kind of guidelines.
Serve on any committee as a liaison, any way I can help.
Mhm. I understand what you're saying.
I'm trying to do the right thing, and the whole thing is,
I know.
this man is not trying to do the right thing, named Mark Wagner.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll try. We can't force him to call anybody or even call us. I can just try.
He's allowed to be unprofessional and not return phone calls to any of you?
He doesn't have to. Just like I wouldn't have to call anybody back if I didn't want to, but I do. And we all have our own work ethic. Yeah. So, anyway, we're going to have to move on.
The lake hasn't frozen over, so we just might get another round of snow.
Nancy Drummond? You're welcome. Okay, well, that was at the beginning, wasn't it? Okay. Oh, I see, okay. All right, so we're done?
We got one more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's all right, well, come on up. We'll give you 3 minutes. Yes, we'll give you 3 minutes. Wait, what is your name?
Heather Alt.
Heather
Alt.
Alt, A-L-T?
A-U-L-T.
A-U-L-T, okay.
May I pass a little
Yeah.
packet around?
And what is your address? Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I live on Eggert Road. I moved there about 3 years ago, and I was quite surprised when I moved on the street to experience extremely high traffic speeds, crashes on a regular basis, pedestrians who are at risk, and a crumbling street and infrastructure. So for 3 years, I've been contacting as many people as I could, although I've not come to this meeting, to get something done. So I was recently elated when I saw here on this first page an amendment to a grant that would provide Eggert Road with $60,000 to install some electronic speed signs, as well as some improved sidewalks and sidewalk ramps. I was thrilled. I called Rachel Straker and I said, I fully think this is a terrific idea. I really support it. I looked at the second modification here, Peachtree Road sidewalk replacement for $400,000. I took my dog over there and I saw a perfectly intact sidewalk. There's nothing wrong with the sidewalk on Peachtree. And what this document says here, in an effort...
What page are you looking at?
That's very first page.
Oh, okay.
So I should also say that this document was printed in the Cheektowaga Bee on December 22nd. This is the public notification for public comment. One paper down here in the corner. Who's going to read this? I was lucky that I even caught it. So Peachtree is going to be, the town will replace existing sidewalks and ramps, therefore providing residents with an improved infrastructure to be physically active. There's nothing wrong with the sidewalk. So I called Rachel back and I was saying, what on earth is going on? This makes no sense. On the second page of the packet here is some information I found out about this grant, which is basically that the grantee, which would be the town of Cheektowaga, is required to provide citizens with reasonable and timely access to local meetings, information and records related to the proposed and actual use of funds, provide public hearings, giving citizens views and a chance to respond to proposals, et cetera, et cetera. So rather than me canvassing my neighborhood or getting a petition going or trying to make my own flyers, it's really on the town of Cheektowaga to provide, to provide citizens with some information. So I'll kind of zoom through the rest of this packet. The next page is the comprehensive plan, which outlines, I just read this this week, outlines some goals which very much align with Eggert Road. We are a gateway to Cheektowaga. We are an older neighborhood located contiguous to the city of Buffalo, and we do need vitality. I mean, we're a very vulnerable neighborhood. We have communal needs that require action. We also, have a lot of different transportation modes, and we need traffic calming measures. So our street is right in line with the comprehensive plan. On the next page, which just shows a map of Eggert Road and the community around it, you can see we have multiple districts. We have a bus route, a truck route. There's 82 homes on our street. There's a business district. So we are a gateway into Cheektowaga, and it looks horrible. On the next page, the next few pages just show some pictures I just took. I'm sorry, the next page kind of outlines a little bit of what you are seeing on the map here, including information about the traffic. 4,000 to 6,000 vehicles per day. 1 out of 4 vehicles are speeding. We have the fastest average vehicle speeds on Eggert Road. And in the past 5 years, we've had 45 vehicle crashes just on our block. So the next few pages are pictures of what it looks like when you're coming into Cheektowaga through Eggert Road. And we have corner stores, an abandoned factory, a empty cemetery lot, very fast traffic, and other just kind of nondescript lots. The next few pages show the curbs and sidewalks on Eggert and East Delavan. As you can see, they are broken. They are horrendous. It looks so terrible. And so there's 2 pages of curbs and sidewalks on Eggert and East Delavan. The next page shows the sewer upgrades that the Department of Engineering kind of left behind in the summer of 2020. There was still, that's from the Google Maps. You can see, there's signage and cones everywhere. And then just now, we continue to have cones and big ditches where the project has not been completed, having our sewers redone. And then the next page is East End, which is just 1 street over. And this truly is the border of Cheektowaga and Buffalo. And as you can see, the street looks horrible. It's paved with bricks that are cracking and crumbling and huge potholes. It is awful. And from what I understand, one side of the street is Cheektowaga and the other side is Buffalo. The final page shows Peachtree Road. The sidewalk is perfectly fine. The ramps are perfectly fine, yet somehow they're getting $400,000 to redo the sidewalks. There's more to the story. I don't understand what it is, but I just want you to be aware that I will be doing everything possible to get funding where it's needed. And this is outlined in your comprehensive plan. We need this at the border, not in interior streets that have perfectly nice sidewalks and ramps. So thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Yeah.
And this is exactly the information we're looking for and need when we have a public comment period on the CDBG funding. And I could swear to you that I know Councilmember Nowak reached out to me and said, can I link him up with Councilman Bowman from the city of Buffalo about East End? And that was right before COVID hit, and it kind of fell to the wayside, but I'm sure he'll pick that ball back up and definitely want to get it going again. So thank you for this information, and we'll follow up with it.
This is so outdated, where did you get this? I can't even find it on the website. This is 2020 consolidated plan.
It is so strange. Okay, here's the Cheektowaga B from December 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Printed down here in the lower corner.
And that's it?
That's it.
But it says 2020 on here. Does it say that in the paper?
Yep. I don't.
I wonder if there was an error. Because I think these were already done. We did the Winston Vigola Park Shelter. I know that. Maybe we already did the Peachtree sidewalk replacement. That's why it looks so new.
So by the looks of it, that was money left over, and they moved it into the Peachtree project. So the parentheses around them mean that you're taking the money out.
Because it says year 2020.
Correct.
So that's why they're 2 years old, I bet.
Okay, I talked again to Rachel Straker just today, and she said, I got more information on the Peachtree project. They are going to be replacing the entire street, the sewer, and the sidewalk, and the curbs. That's what it actually is, even though this document says it's just for the sidewalks. I called the engineering department to confirm this. No one called me back. And let me tell you, I have called so many departments. Like, I mean, and starting with the Traffic Safety Commission, Community Development, Highway Department, on and on and on. I've talked to a few different council members. And again, it is just shocking to me that this amount of funding is just going unnoticed, like $400,000.
Well, that's why I said we need a controller, because we have no control over this spending.
So I believe that these COVID funds are just being moved away, kind of under the radar, to a traffic or a street maintenance project. Because what Rachel said is that, you know, this is just typical engineering, picks a different street every year, and this upcoming year they're going to do Peachtree. That's fine. I think, sure, if they need sewers or sidewalks, that's fine. We need them more. And we actually are a gateway and, you know, have real actual needs on our street. I mean, we have high accidents and high speeds and crumbling, you know, literally crumbling sidewalks. I mean, you see in those photos, it's like third world country or something on my intersection here, you know. So,
does anybody know, is Eggert Road like because we share it with Buffalo, is it?
Eggert Road is complicated. The conversations I've had, I believe some of them are, like the whole stretch from, let's say, East Delavan to 33, there's 3 different municipalities involved in ownership. But I mean, the factory property at Sugar and Eggert there, I think there was some plans on that. I don't know how far along they are, but in terms of East End, I'd love to work with Councilman Pilarski and Bowman to make progress on that, because even for first responders in the fire service, you put a police car, an ambulance, a fire truck there, it's an issue. And then for the folks that are there every day. And the Eggert Road issue hasn't gone unnoticed, and, you know, I know from personal experience and volunteering at the fire service and things about, you know, the speeding and the results of that. So I'll just leave that at that. And there's a lot that needs work. I think East End is something that we can make a priority out of this thing. That road is particularly bad. Not to say the other ones aren't important, but I hear you.
Yeah. Well, I can just explain briefly that my house is on what's called the Buffalo side. My front yard is in Cheektowaga. I pay Cheektowaga school taxes, and I'm in the central school district. My backyard is in Buffalo because of the sewer and water pipes. For some weird reason, I don't understand why, I also have Buffalo garbage. I could easily have Cheektowaga garbage. And so I actually have been thinking about that this week, and I called sanitation in Cheektowaga and found out what their costs are and what I pay with Buffalo. It's the same price. So I don't know why my side of the street, which is a Cheektowaga address, because we are in the Cheektowaga school district, why we have Buffalo trash. Because we have Buffalo trash, everyone thinks we're Buffalo. And so when it comes to trying to have a voice or even talk with neighbors about who we go to talk about issues on our street, or I talk to anybody about it, they just, no one even knows my side is actually Cheektowaga. So on a different topic, I would love to explore having Cheektowaga trash for our side of the road so it's not so confusing. Again, it's you know, just one of like many, many issues on Eggert. And I'm planning to attend many meetings this year so I can keep bringing these issues to the table because, anyway, I don't know. I just feel like we keep getting neglected and pushed to the side, and no one wants to even come to our neighborhood and check it out, what's going on Eggert, you know, in East Delavan.
So does your tax bill come from Cheektowaga?
Both.
You get both. Okay, so it is split. That's what I was wondering, if you're just paying one tax bill and then. Okay, so your Buffalo one is your garbage from them. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, I pay 50% of what the full Cheektowaga tax would be and 50% of what the Buffalo tax would be. So if my Cheektowaga full tax would be $2,000, I pay $1,000, if that makes sense.
And it's something we as a town, you know, should improve, is talking with the city of Buffalo on what projects they're doing, especially like East End, when it's divided left and right, you know. the town's not gonna come down and just do the left side, and the city's not gonna come down and do just the right side, so the street gets untouched and it gets forgotten about. So we definitely should talk with the city more with projects like this on how to do Eggert, East End, stuff like that, and Genesee, another one, anywhere bordering other
Yeah,
municipalities.
in East Element as well. I mean, that's the street that these two corner stores, you know, kind of are facing. It's bad. It's just, I mean, if you go down there, you'd be shocked. And these photos kind of help tell the story. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. It's kind of strange. It is yeah. Oh, all right, go ahead, Elias. Yeah,
You know, just,
we're kind of past our time.
because luckily we have the two judges here, and I keep promising
Oh.
the judges, I know the courts, like I said, I'm there almost every day, I see it from another side, but the courts are real important here. I know everybody's talked about the police. The police go out, they arrest people. You don't see what happens after that. It's a whole different, I mean, Cheektowaga compared to when you go to the city of Buffalo, I mean, the city of Buffalo courts, they're almost as busy as Cheektowaga. There's a lot to it. I don't want to stand up here, it's late, I don't want to take everyone's time to kind of explain it, but I would highly encourage, since I'm there a lot, everybody on the board, if you have a chance, stop over during the day. I know the judges would be very agreeable to you sitting in the back, spend an hour there, see what goes on. It's very busy, and I don't think people know how busy, because it's a town court, so everybody just assumes it's like a small town type of thing. It's busier than Lackawanna City Court, busier than Tonawanda City Court. Those are both city courts. Super busy. You got the mall, you got the airport, you have Walmart, all the stores. We probably have more retail in Buffalo than they do in Cheektowaga than they do in Buffalo. So I would just encourage people to see, so you get a good idea of it. I know some people are running for positions coming up in November. I think it'd be very beneficial, because it's a huge thing, and I don't think a lot of people in the town kind of notice how crazy it is over there. But as long as we have the judges here, I figured that way you can stop over, let them know. And
What's your address? I have to put that down here, on here.
my home address?
Yeah.
42 Marsdale Road. 14215. I got a Buffalo zip code too.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you, Elias.
Thank you.
And Dave User, you wanted to speak?
Yeah, I just want to say something that this lady said earlier, that South Cheektowaga didn't get as much snow. Now, who determines that? Come on, let's get real. I live in South Cheektowaga. I wasn't home for 3 days, okay? I was in this storm, okay? I seen what some of these people went through, and it's really, it was devastating. When I got to my street, I plowed it. I plowed my street.
Again?
The town didn't plow it, I plowed it. Then when the town come down, they looked and they says, this looks good. When the payloader got down there, yeah. The payloader actually started where I started, but I did it north, they did it south. But to say that one part of the town, this storm, I was out in it, I did not see that. South Cheektowaga got hit, I mean, just as bad as probably any place else down here. I don't live on, when people say South Cheektowaga, they mean Lawson Road area. They don't mean the old William Street area, they don't think of it as that. And that's where I live. So, and here nor there, I mean, the town did what we could, the county. And people that are listening to this stuff on the internet and doing whatever, social media, it was the worst thing. The governor, and I listened to it, the governor said, the National Guard is here. The National Guard wasn't here. They weren't here. The National Guard, if you're going to blame somebody, blame the governor. She says everybody knew about this a week in advance. So did she. And where was the National Guard? It wasn't here. It should have been here in advance. That's part of who should take the blame for this. Not just blame the people, and people, I mean, to be out there, I was one of them. Dumb me, I was out there, and I was away from home. I got home, my wife had the driveway snowplowed. My wife weighs about $110. She's 5 foot. She had it all done before I got there.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
You're lucky, yeah.
I got a lot of video of
But
it.
I agree.
Like I said, somebody had to hold, somebody asked me why I wasn't there, because somebody had to hold the camera. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, meeting adjourned.
We're gonna
Yeah.